Hello, you lovely listener. Jess here on Crave the Rave. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tuning? Do people still tune in? Thank you so much for listening. This is our first ever episode. It was a bit trial and error. We'd never done it before. I'd like to think that we've got our heads around it a little bit better now, Lara. What do you think?
Yeah, we found our groove, I think.
So if you are listening for the first time, maybe jump further down the line, maybe episode 3 or 4 onwards, and you can always come back to this episode later. Thanks for listening.
Enjoy. Welcome to Crave the Rave, a naughty podcast for old school ravers who need a fix of the rave. I'm Lady Bizarre.
And I'm Jess the Mess. On each episode, we'll be reminiscing over hilarious, embarrassing and downright mental stories from our raver days.
Think trippy tales, fezzy fails, and stories from the sesh.
We've seen, heard and done it all. And we bet you have too.
So join us for a trip down memory lane.
Hello and welcome to Crave the Rave, the party podcast. I'm Jess.
And I'm Lara.
And we're finally here to bring you our episode 1 of Crave the Rave. Yay!
Woo!
We've been best friends for years. We're always reminiscing about all the funny times that we had. And we know that everyone's got such funny stories. So we thought we'd talk about them on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So today is Halloween. Woo!
Woo!
Have you got any Halloween plans, Lara?
I don't really care that much about Halloween, I'm not gonna lie. It just doesn't...
Well, you've changed. Because you used to love Halloween.
I think I just liked the idea of partying, putting some kind of quite slutty clothes on. Honestly, like when I think about it, that was what it was about. I don't really care about Halloween.
You did used to always dress up though. We actually loved dressing up for Halloween.
Yeah, I think if someone said to me now, like, you need to get a costume for like a Halloween party, I'd be like, fuck off, no.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I actually think there's probably an age limit really on people throwing a fancy dress party. Like, it's all fine if you're going to a Halloween party or a fancy dress party and you are dressed in fancy dress, that's okay. But I don't know about people that throw a fancy dress party when they're like in their 40s or, you know, late 30s.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I just can't, for me, I just can't be arsed
Yeah.
these days.
I remember one year you came as a knife and fork.
Yeah, that did happen. Yeah, it was actually a sexy knife and fork. Me and my friend, I was the knife, she was the fork, and we got these like Primark sequin dresses and like safety pinned all these like Poundland plastic cutlery like all over them, and then sprayed them with silver, but the silver didn't stick to the plastic, so they just dripped down. And it
I think it was more of a cutlery drawer than you were a knife and fork.
Yeah.
What was the theme?
It was Alice in Wonderland.
Where in Alice in Wonderland is a knife and fork?
On the table. Duh.
You used to like being a bit of a sexy fancy dresser.
Yes. Yeah.
I was more of the scary fancy dresser.
Yes, I saw.
I remember one year I dressed up as a scary clown and I won a prize.
Oh, that's good. What did you win?
A big bottle of Prosecco, and I downed the whole lot of it, and you should have seen the state of me afterwards. Honestly, that was more scary than the outfit.
Yeah, I can picture it, mate. I've been there. I've been there.
So you don't have any plans for Halloween?
No, just releasing this podcast, really. What about you?
I'm going to go to Thorpe Park Fright Night. Have you ever been?
What? I mean, as if. I'm such a pussy with that kind of thing. It'd be the last thing I'd want to do.
Well, it is actually really scary. I remember years ago, I went with a few people and we got really messy in the queue. And by the time it was a long queue, we were in there for a long time, so we were fucked by the time we got into the actual like scary maze. And when we went in, the theme was train spotting. And oh my God, it was so scary. It was terrifying, especially because we were off our nuts. And we went through and we were screaming, shouting. I remember I ended up cuddling someone that I thought was my boyfriend. And when we came out, it wasn't him. So I
Shut up.
Yeah, screamed after I came out. And I was hanging on to somebody that actually wasn't my boyfriend.
Oh my God, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah, it was really good. Imagine being one of the actors or like one of the people that actually dresses up and scares people at Thorpe Park.
I'd prefer that. I'd probably still be scared though.
Yeah, you'd probably be scared waiting for people to come round. I had a mate once who was a actor at London Dungeons. And we all went back to his house once after a night out, and we kept him awake and we wouldn't let him go to bed even though he had work the next day.
Standard.
But he got up and, he didn't get up, he didn't go to bed. He went to work and he put on his face and makeup and he got fired because he hadn't been to bed.
Oh, shit.
And he'd been crying. When he came back to the house, we were still there, and he'd been crying and all of his makeup had tears through it.
No.
But he was pretending that that he was really okay and that he wasn't bothered by it, but we could see that he'd been crying. Oh my God, we felt so bad.
Still probably carried on partying though.
Yeah, of course we did, yeah.
Did he get back on it?
Probably, yeah. I mean, wouldn't you if you just got fired?
What else are you going to do, really? Totally. Talking of London Dungeons, do you remember? Oh, you weren't there, but there was a big group of us that went to Whirligig at Jack's.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Those were the days. But we went there, and afterwards we're walking back through London Bridge, and would you believe it? The back door, like one of the side doors to the London Dungeons, was open and like just a little bit ajar. And it was just one of those mad moments in life where you're like, it's literally now or never. And we just went in, like all of us, just like opened the door, quickly snuck in.
Oh my God.
And we just suddenly like joined, like tagged onto this tour of around the London Dungeons. But we were off our nuts, we were messy. And so we joined this quite serious tour going around, and I remember one of the boys who was very, very wobbly at the time, we bullied him basically into being one of the volunteers. They were asking for a volunteer for a demo of this like hook, which back in the day they used to use as torture, and they'd hook into your asshole and hang you.
Oh my God.
Disgusting. Like, it creeped me out. But anyway, we bullied him into being to do the demo, and they basically stuck this hook around his trousers and hauled him to the ceiling, and oh my God, he looked so terrified, and we were pissing ourselves. It was actually so funny. And then after that, they had this like ride at the end, I think it's called like Drop Dead or something, and basically it's one of them like vertical drop rides, yeah. And oh my God, it was, yeah, we thought it'd be a really good idea. It was actually also really scary. And I actually bought the picture. You know how they sell the picture afterwards? It's like 20 quid or whatever. Obviously I bought it, and I still have that picture somewhere, but it was such a funny picture. Our eyes are like popping out of our heads, like literally. And then this woman next to us just looks like, who the hell are these?
She's like a normal tourist that has come down to London for the day.
Normal person.
Are you sure this actually happened? Because it sounds just like a trip.
I know. Honestly, yes, I have the picture somewhere, but I would probably think the same if I didn't have the picture. I would be questioning my own memory. I'd be like, did that actually happen?
Because it is actually like the perfect end to a night out. A tour around London Dungeons.
I know. It was mad. Do you know what else happened recently that honestly, if I didn't have it videoed, I would probably think that I'd imagined also, because it was so fucking weird.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, I don't think I actually told you about this. Did I tell you about the machine men?
No.
I just called them the machine men.
Okay.
Okay, no. Basically, it's kind of hard to imagine, and maybe I will put a video on our page on Instagram because it was really hard to explain. But basically, me and my friend, we tried to go to like a rooftop. We saw there was going to be some good housey music. We were like, cool. And we went there and the music was shit, but we could hear just like this like rumbling and this like banging and this really intense, what kind of sounded like somewhere between a building site and techno. It was like really like industrial, but like kind of painful on the ears. You could hear it in the background. Anyway, so we followed this sound. We went down this like windy staircase, and what we saw was like, so imagine like you're watching around like a balcony, and there's like probably about 100 people looking down on these two guys. So they're back to back, like they're literally back to back DJing, but they're making the music, and I'm gonna quote unquote music, with only like machines and bits and bobs and drills and like, okay, I don't know what it's officially called, but like one of those huge like welding, soldering kind of like silver gun, big machines that send sparks flying everywhere. Like what you'd imagine someone, I don't know, working on like the tracks or something with that huge thing. People are like backing away, and they're making what I think is supposed to be music.
So it didn't sound good?
It honestly was like hell. It was actually torture.
Where was this?
This was in Lisbon. This was in Lisbon in Portugal. And me and my friend were literally like, this is, I think, top 10 weirdest things I've ever seen, maybe top 5.
So it was in a nightclub?
it was in a nightclub, but like everyone was stood around. But the weirdest thing, some people were nodding and sort of dancing, and I was like, no. I was like, because I've been to Berlin and I've heard some fucking doof techno, and I like some of it. But this was like another level. There's no way I could count this as music, but it was, I mean, in theory it was cool, but I wish it sounded good because it was painful, mate. It was, mate. I'll put the video up.
I thought that you were on a silent retreat in Portugal.
I was, and then I literally came out of it and went to Lisbon, and then I experienced that. So that was definitely...
Because I'd say it would be a lot easier to make a podcast with someone if they weren't always on a silent retreat.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one time, but you weren't very happy with that way. I remember I came out and you were like, hello, like with all these messages. And yeah, I remember actually, because I'd literally just done like 4 days, no phone, like really zen. And then I like braved turning my phone on, which I was really scared to do because I was like, oh my God, the real world. And then like I just had these like series of messages from you, and half of them were just like different, varying, intense foghorn sounds for the podcast.
Air horns. Oh, air horns are fun. You used to love an air horn.
Like a rave horn, yeah, I did actually. I had many. I used to have like, you know, like the ones that you wear around you, like with a strap,
Carnival
like
one.
yeah, like a man bag style one, bright pink neon. I used to love that shit.
I remember that, and I remember you used to carry around a little party like blow horn in your handbag, and you used to bring it out of the afters.
A little party popper, yeah, like a little party blower. I know the ones you put in like a party bag.
Yeah, you had one in your bag the whole time,
and it just stopped working by the end, but I couldn't get rid of it. That was very me though, wasn't it, to like keep hold of something just for the sake of it. Yeah.
And glow sticks. I think we had glow sticks. Oh my God, I cringe out when I think about glow sticks because I used to go around selling glow sticks when I was like 17 and people did not want to buy them, but they wanted to get this girl away from them, so they'd pay £3 for a glow stick, which I paid for about 50p. And I used to beg people to buy the glow sticks, and they used to pity me and buy them. And then I actually really haven't seen many people actually use glow sticks. Even though I was selling them, I never really saw people actually using them, but I'm cringing. My toes are cringing at the thought of going around and selling them like some little Del boy.
Oh my God, that is really making me laugh, the idea of it.
I do cringe sometimes thinking about what we used to get up to when we were younger.
I know. I mean, for me, it's more like what I used to wear at that time. So like the time, I know what time you're thinking about when like glow sticks, horns, whistles. Like I used to love a whistle as well. But do you remember I had that like oversized like yellow high vis jacket?
Oh yeah.
And I like tied it up at the top, again trying to be sexy, but it was like there's no making a high vis jacket that I'd stolen from work, from like the health and safety cupboard. I'd like tied it up in a knot, and then I got one of the boys, to like graph on the back of it like a dub, like raving mad. It was bad. Like it was bad. It still had like fire security written on it. Like it wasn't. It was bad. It was really, really bad. I had quite a few bad pieces. Like, I wonder if I even told you about that. Oh, I'm cringing. So right, so basically I thought it would be a really good idea to make my own t-shirt which had sex, drugs and drum and bass written across the front of it, right? But basically I decided to put, it was pink with pink writing, like bubble writing or whatever, and on the back I decided to put a picture of my own face.
What? Hang on a minute. I've never heard about this before. Why did you put a picture of your own face on the back?
I think like I don't know. I think it just gave you the option to put something on the back, and I was like, what? Like what?
Oh my God! You never wore that out, did you? Because I've never seen that.
No, because when it arrived, it was so bad. What I expected was this cute little kind of like tight, flattering, lovely, pink, sexy rave t-shirt. What arrived was a very ill-fitting, low-quality, grainy picture of me on the back. It just looked so fucking trashy. So I never wore it. I don't even know what.
Do you remember when we went through that new rave era? Oh my God, like bright coloured tights, colourful beads, mad coloured neon outfits, and glow paint. We love glow paint.
Yeah, well, that was around the time I think that we were going to like Planet Angel and things like that, like Whirligig. Like that was very like, that was very, I remember that.
That was that hidden in Vauxhall. That was such a good club.
That was so good. Yeah, they had like giant like Connect Four and things like that. It was like a kids program, kids playground.
It was amazing,
but for people that are really high. Yeah, I had that T-shirt as well that was like drop beats, not bombs, and I fucking rinsed that T-shirt. Yeah, but of course you do, because I did not stop wearing it to the point the letters got so faded, which I thought made it look even cooler and like vintagey. So yeah, I was a hippie from day, man.
I mean, for me, the outfit that sticks out is that fluffy rave outfit.
Yeah,
it is actually hilarious.
That was iconic. Just to like, I think for anyone listening as well, because I just want to explain like the absolute like beauty of this thing. It was like the full outfit. So it was like the gloves, the fluffy boots, I had like fishnet tights in bright pink neon. The whole thing was pink neon. The tiny little skirt and then little matching bra top, and everything was pink neon fur. But like, you know, that fur that's like how can I describe it? Like Sesame Street fur. You know, like Big Bird. It was like that. So it got matted by the end of the night. And like picking bits out of it. It's disgusting.
So that's what you wore the first night we met.
Yeah. And I remember so I got that. I actually, at the time I was working, do you remember I was working at that record store, IMO Records?
Oh, yeah.
So I got like a little bit of a discount, but it was from this company called Contagious Clubwear.
Right.
And it was still like 115 quid or something.
Which for us back then was a lot of money.
Yeah, at 17 years old, 18 years old, that was like a whole week's wages or whatever. But I loved it so much. But yeah, that was good. Those times were amazing. I remember, because when I used to work at IMO Records, what's so funny is I didn't know how to mix.
Oh, yeah.
I was wanting to learn, but I just got so excited about all the new tunes coming in that I would buy all the white labels. The half of my wages would be gone on vinyls that then they were coming in, because they would take it off my wages. And then I just ended up with all these records. But that place was so sick. Big up, what were they called? DJ Spinback and Robert Stapleton. They were so good. That was such a good place. They had thousands of fucking exclusive records. I loved it.
But you couldn't mix. I remember.
No,
yeah,
I was trying.
I remember once when the boys were selling their decks. I think he needed money quickly for some reason, and I drove. So I drove you to go and pick them up. We brought them back to yours, but you had all the records, but you didn't know how to mix.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to say to people, "Come on back to Lara. She's gonna have a mix."
Yes, I fucking remember that. No, yeah, that was so good. Yeah, so he exactly. He suddenly needed to make some cash quick, so he sold me like. They were the Gemini direct drive, old school wooden sided like decks, amp, speakers, whole thing for 200 quid. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Only problem was, didn't know what to do with them. And I had like, I've still got, I think I've got about 80 vinyl now in storage, all bangers. But like, yeah, I never really quite knew what to do with them. And I remember yes, I do remember that, because you used to say, hey, let's go back, Lara's going to have a mix. And I used to be like, shut up. Because I remember I had 2 tunes that I could actually mix, sort of. And it was If We Ever, High Contrast. And I can't remember what the other one was. But like, you can't be having an afters and just back-to-backing 2 tunes. Like, it'd be so cringe. I think, yeah, it's just, yeah, embarrass.
So here's a question. It actually makes me cringe asking this question, but it's a really important question that has to be asked. What music are you into?
It's so funny that you say that, right? Because this has been coming up a lot for me. Obviously, you know, I'm single, and so I get asked this, and I ask this question, you know, on the apps and things.
It is an important question.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I've just noticed that I like cringe myself, because now I feel like I have finally become one of those people, dare I say it, and this might be an age thing, I don't know, where I'm like, I like a lot of different types of music.
Oh, you're not a person that says, I like a bit of everything.
I like a bit of everything. Not everything, but like, it's kind of like, I don't know, you know, like we had so many like eras of sessions in our life, right? Like I feel like for about 10 years, my answer was
drum and bass.
That was like
bass, yeah.
That was the only answer. And so when people said, oh, I like a bit of everything or whatever, I'd judge them. I'd be like, so wishy-washy. I'd be like, what do you mean? Or they'd be like, oh, I don't know, I like all music. I'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's not an answer, you know?
Oh, I get it. I mean, for me, it was like, the answer had to be drum and bass or some sort of dance music or
Yeah.
electronic music. You know, I'm never going to go out to a jazz night. I'm never really going to go out to, I'm definitely not going to go out to an R&B night. It's just not my thing.
Never.
But I get it more now. Yeah, I'm into more music than I was. And thank God.
Yeah. Well, like, obviously who would have thought that the obsessor of drum and bass would be dancing salsa and bachata and like full on like loving that music and like proper getting into it. Obviously now I've been living in Central America, so that's obviously why, but I don't know. Yeah, things have changed.
I remember once years ago, we went with our friends that were like into indie music and rock and roll, and we went to Frog in Tottenham Court Road, and we were all like a bunch of ravers, and we went, and oh my God, the music was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, we've never been into bands.
No way. And I left early. I left you there because I couldn't hack it. And the ones that stayed said that you sat there really miserably until Meatloaf, like a bat out of hell, gone to the morning. And still that came on. And then you jumped up and you started stomping around as though it was drum and bass.
Oh my God.
Now, whenever I hear Meatloaf, like a bat out of hell, I think about you dancing around to it.
I would never have remembered that night. But do you know what? It's like that pure desperation for like a drop.
Yeah, totally. Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there really is nothing better than going for a night out and the music is absolutely amazing.
Yes, and nothing worse than it being really shit and like you're really disappointed. Have you ever like bought like a really good like expensive ticket or like gone somewhere and you're expecting the music to be so sick and actually it's really shit? It's such an anticlimax. I think also like with us like nowadays, obviously we get less fucked up now, so the music is even more important. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because like that's mostly what you're there for.
Yeah, totally.
Like back in the day, you know, you could maybe like sometimes make up for like not the best music in, you know, like other ways. Like we just sit in the corner anyway and just like be like a pile of bodies just chatting absolute shit to each other. Do you know what I mean? That would be the night.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, to be honest, I can enjoy good music that is different if it's like maybe at like a wedding or a work do or something like that. Like I will get up and dance, but overall, a good night out with great music is probably my best type of socialising.
I actually think of, now you say wedding music, when I think of wedding music, I think of like, that actually feels like your type of music.
Yeah, actually, to be honest. But for my wedding, we planned it for months and months and months in advance. We spent so much time getting our wedding music on point. Like, you obviously had to make sure that the older relatives were happy. So we played some soul. We played, like, the club classics. We played the garage music all the way through to drum and bass. And, of course, we finished on original Nash FX.
That was so good.
It was so good.
That was literally so good. I remember like literally heels off, everyone was in their trainers, like, or shoes off. It was just like we were having it. Like it was like the whole last like 2 hours were like,
oh, it was amazing.
Proper like bangers, like
it was amazing.
old school bangers.
I mean, have you ever tried to rave in a wedding dress?
Oh my god, you were getting so pissed off. I could see you were having a really good time, but also you were kind of like yanking your dress because people were
standing on it. They were standing on it all night.
Yeah, you looked like you were kind of like having a good time, and then every now and again
I was loving the
fuming.
I was loving the music so much, but I was exhausted by the end of it. So all of this talk about raving and us planning this podcast has got in my head, and I'm absolutely craving a big night out.
What are we thinking about the new Drumsheds?
Oh. So, if anyone that doesn't know, Drumsheds is the new venue. It's huge. I think it's about 15,000 people, 3 rooms. It's IKEA.
It's the old IKEA in Tottenham, isn't it? North London.
And it's by the makers of Printworks. And I have messed up because I did not get tickets. And I'm really, really, really jealous of anybody that got tickets. In fact, the other day I looked on resale for one of the nights and it was £82 and there was 1 ticket left.
Yeah.
So I've messed up there because I should have got tickets beforehand. But what I'm telling myself is that it might be a bit like Printworks. Now, I think Printworks is great. Don't get me wrong. It actually is such an amazing event. But for me, the issues with Printworks is they felt a little bit like Disneyland of a rave. Did you ever go?
No, I didn't go because I was away. Like it never happened for me. But
so it's amazing. Like
yeah.
the sound is on point. Like the visuals are absolutely incredible. Like everything about it's amazing. Like it's streamlined, it's organised, it's safe. Like there's lockers, toilet queue. There's no toilet queue. The bars are empty. It's absolutely incredible. Like for a rave experience, it's sick. But it lacks that sort of like dingy, dirty feel, which I think other nightclubs or other venues manage to achieve while still feeling safe. That undergroundiness, there isn't that there. So I'd be really interested to see how Drumsheds compares and what Drumsheds has for it. But I'm telling myself that, it's not going to be amazing because I'm just really, really jealous and gutted for everybody that actually got a ticket and was organised enough, unlike me.
It does look really sick. I agree, though. I know exactly what you're saying. I just hope it doesn't feel kind of overproduced, you know?
Yeah, which Printworks was.
Like,
but
yeah.
I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm sure it's amazing. Anybody that has gone or is going, can you let us know? What is it like? Because we want to know. Well, that is it. The end of our very first episode of Crave the Rave.
Woo!
Thank you so much for listening. It's been really fun. We are just getting started. So if you have any funny stories of the rave or any funny stories about your partying, please do let us know.
And we can read them out. Send us a DM on Instagram at Crave the Rave Podcast, or our email is cravetherave.podcast@gmail.com if you want to keep it old school. And please do subscribe, like, share, rate the podcast, all of that jazz, wherever you listen to it, as that helps us know that we're not just chatting to each other, right, Jess?
Yeah.
Although we do like doing that.
We do. Thanks. See you next time.
Bye.